I'm back. Okay, so I did have an idea that I was going to be talking about depression almost right out the gate, but midterms in school's been getting a little much, so I haven't had the proper time to research it properly. Because if I am going to be discussing mental illness, I am going to be doing it correctly. This does not mean everything I say will be 100% accurate 100% of the time. So if I do misspeak or if my sources are not entirely correct, please link correct sources down below in the comments, because like everybody else should, I want to continue to learn and expand my own knowledge, which is why today I will not be talking about depression. Instead, I feel like talking about one sense of reality is an important discussion that does not necessarily need a whole bunch of resources and sources to be discussed and be discussed correctly and justified the way it needs to be. Most of what I will be discussing is from my own personal experience and what I have learned for myself through my own counseling and therapy sessions. So if someone has more to add, feel free to comment and allow your voice and your thoughts to be heard as well. There's no point in trying to start the conversation and discussion if nobody's going to be sharing. So if you feel safe and comfortable enough to share, then you are more than welcome to share. Alright, now we will finally get into it. I am so sorry for taking so long, but what I have said felt important to say. So, one sense of reality. Everyone has their own unique sense of reality, and that is important to accept. It's important for everybody to accept that your perception of reality is not how everybody else is going to be perceiving it. The way the world works is very complex. The way our minds work is very complex. And when you throw in other variables such as mental illness or emotional bias of certain situations, everybody's going to be interpreting it a little differently to fit how their brain is capable of understanding it. I'm sorry, I'm taking a moment to gather my thoughts. I know this happened last video too, but it's one of those things that it's important for me to be able to express clearly what I want to say, because just rambling on and on about it with the wrong words does not prove effective in sharing my thoughts and relaying the information I have. The way you experience the world often defines how you react and respond to the world. So, for example, if you are a doctor or a medical professional and you encounter someone who has recently experienced some sort of medical trauma, like they have a broken arm or they've got a cut that's actively bleeding, they might need a bandage or some stitches, that doctor is going to see that individual differently, is going to respond according to their training and their life experience up to that point, versus their parent, this individual's parent, who's probably still going to react in a similar, mature, authoritative manner, but be a little more compassionate and quite possibly a little more worried, since most parents don't have the training or medical know-how to thoroughly understand what may be going on. Although the same incident is occurring for both the medical professional and the parent, the way they perceive it is very different. And it's very similar for someone who has mental illness and someone who does not have mental illness. Someone who does not have mental illness, for example, if they have a friend or significant other they like to communicate with over text messaging, then if their friend or significant other decreases their activity and is texting a little less and less, someone without mental illness would possibly think more logically, such as, oh, this individual is busy, they're probably at work, or their phone died and they don't have a charger, or they're in a meeting of some kind and they're just not able to answer the messages right now. Versus someone who has anxiety, for example, they could see the inactivity and think, oh, this person could be busy and have a valid excuse to not be responding to me, or I could have said something awkward or inappropriate and they could be panicking and not know what to do. I could have said or done something without knowing and suddenly they hate me for whatever reason. What did I do? Something? What's going on? Something terrible happened and they're in danger and I have no idea where they are. I have no idea what they're doing. Something could be severely wrong and I have no way of knowing. Although the probability of all those scenarios realistically are very slim, they are how an individual with anxiety could be perceiving the situation. And although they may recognize and know that the odds of some of those scenarios are very slim, if at all feasible, depending on the person they're associating with, it doesn't stop them from thinking that way per se. It does not make it any less part of their sense of reality. The reason why I feel like this is important to discuss is that sometimes those of us with mental illness will be out and about in the world and something will happen or we'll encounter a certain situation and we respond in a way that can confuse those who don't really have much personal experience with mental illness. They might wonder why we react the way we do. They might wonder why simply being told to call, that someone called, but you missed the call and need to call them back at work, is causing them anxiety and causing them to feel panic. Because to someone who doesn't really struggle with mental illness, it's like, oh, so-and-so in this department just needs you to call them back because they have something to discuss based off work. You're not in trouble or anything, they need help with a certain project. But if you're struggling with anxiety, you could be like, oh no, I'm in trouble, I did something wrong, I'm gonna get fired, I'm gonna get demoted, what's gonna happen to me? And it's those little day-to-day interactions that can raise questions for a lot of people. So I would like to say that I'm going to rephrase that. The way you are experiencing the world is your reality. It is valid because that is how your brain is processing the experiences and the situations going on around you. Does it necessarily mean the way you respond to those situations is healthy or is productive? No. but that is how you are experiencing the world, and no one should be able to tell you that because a certain situation is causing you to feel sad or anxious or is triggering a terrible memory or triggering any other emotional, mental illnesses or responses. It doesn't make it any less valid because that is how your brain has learned to interpret the world in order to keep you safe and in order to survive. The way our brains are programmed is to keep us safe and to help us survive. So simply because your sense of reality means a certain situation isn't a big deal or is completely safe does not mean that's how the person next to you is going to see the situation and is going to see the world around them. Everyone's experiences are different, and the way their brains develop or interpret the world determines how they are going to perceive things long term. If you do not like the way you are perceiving the world or feel like you have a mental illness that is inhibiting your ability to perceive the world in a logical manner, then I highly encourage to reach out to a therapist or a counselor. I know from my personal experience, I am much more capable of viewing the world the way it actually is and more able to recognize situations that are actually dangerous versus ones that just arouse concern in me. And because I was able to learn and grow through my therapy, I am much more grounded in my surroundings, and I feel a lot better and a lot safer in my headspace because I have the tools to help me better understand what's going on. Does it mean you are broken? Does it mean you're messed up? No, it doesn't. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. You are who you are, and you are valid for who you are. You are valid for your emotions and feelings, and you are valid for experiencing the world the way you do. But if your world is scary or confusing, it is okay to reach out for help. Help is there. And it's okay to not feel safe 100% of the time. It's okay to not feel happy 100% of the time. Just don't forget that help is there and that you are capable of growing beyond your mental illness. Your mental illness does not have to define you. So please love yourself and give yourself the love and help you need. And please offer your love and help to others, even and especially if you don't completely understand what's going on. At least not understand what's going on in their headspace. Because a person's headspace can be a terrifying place to be. So please reach out in compassion and understanding and love. And I believe I have covered the main points I want to. I did not take notes for this video. This was more of an impromptu scenario for me. Yes, I covered all the points I wanted to. If there are points you feel I missed or would like to discuss, please feel free to comment them down below. I will interact with comments to my videos on any platform you see it, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. I'm still working on setting up an Instagram, so please bear with me for that if that's what you like using. And that should be it. So don't forget to like, comment, please, please, please share this video or any of the content I create that you think could be useful for someone you may know or just someone in your part of the world. Because we need to make sure everybody knows there's a place for them. If their place isn't here, I totally understand. But I want to offer a place for people to understand they are not alone, that average, everyday people are allowed to have bad days. They are allowed to have struggles. So please, please share. Please like and comment. Feel free to follow the Facebook page Amber's Story. It's the same as here on YouTube. And I hope all of you have a wonderful, wonderful day, especially during this time of year. Thanksgiving is tomorrow when I'm filming this, so happy Turkey Day. Spend some good quality time with those you love. All right, have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.